How many of us just give up? How many of us just shut down? How many of us say it's what the use? How many of us say within ourselves, I ain't going to do that no more? But God says, while you're going through your situation, pray. God said, while you're experiencing hurt, learn how to praise me. While you experience your son being in jail or your daughter doing some crazy stuff, just praise me. And there is a time and a schedule I'm going to bring them out. How many people know it doesn't matter how long you've been into something, God can bring you out at his time? Look at somebody and say, it may not be your time. It may not be your time. But it's God's time. God is so awesome. God has a strategy. One thing we need to understand about God is that he's not just awesome. He's not just extremely grateful. He's not just extremely powerful. He's not just extremely God. But God also has a plan in whatever he planned for you. Look at somebody and say, God has a plan for your life. Now, even though you have a plan, but God has a master plan. Even though you got a lot of things that you deal with in life, but God has a plan that is his plan. And you may not think you're part of the plan, but God says, because I planned it this way, you are. And so you see, it does not matter. It does not matter. He has a plan for you. He has a master plan laid out before the foundation of the world. It's so amazing to know that God has spelled out a certain amount of details that he has already intricately planned detail for your life. You're going crazy. I mean, you're doing everything to abort it. You're involved in everything. You don't think that God got a plan for your life, but he's just going to let you run out. He's going to let you just not fulfill the things you're trying to do, accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. He's just trying to let you know that, okay, you're doing it your way, but finally you're going to do it my way. And there's absolutely nothing you can do about it because my plan is a master plan. So when we catch it, David said, what is man? What is man that thou art mindful of him? I mean, why should you be so concerned about it? You made him a little lower than the angels. I mean, he's not even equivalent to the angels. I mean, what is it? The angels obedient, they at my command, they bow at my command, they worship, they live in an environment of worship, and man himself will worship the creature more than the creator. Why would you be so concerned about him? You will tell man to do something right and he does it wrong arbitrarily. He's against you, your will, and everything you stand for. He is a disobedient person. And why are you so mindful of him? Let's ask somebody, say, why is the Lord so mindful of me? Because he knows me. He knows how we testify upstairs and live in the basement. He knows how we make promises and they won't keep none of it. He knows our motives. He knows our thoughts and our desires. I'm not going to be long, but if you sit there quiet, it may be longer. And so, when we understand the plan of God, when we comprehend why and how Christ died on the cross that made a difference in our lives, it starts first of all with an understanding of who God is. Somebody said, who God is. Sometimes I wonder, we creatures, I wonder really, do we know who God is? We know who God is, and when we know who God is, we'll know who we are. Some people don't even know who they are. And you can't really know who you are until you connect with the Creator who made you. Listen at this. The Lord says to Adam, Adam, where thou? Somebody said, if God knew everything, why would he have to ask Adam where he was? God asked Adam, who art thou? Because Adam didn't know where he was. And some of us need to cry out and say, Lord, the Lord needs to say, who are thou? One of the things we need to understand about God is that God is, and these are not theological terms, that God is the term, he is everlasting and dateless God, one who's without beginning or end of days. David also said from everlasting to everlasting, thou art God. He rules in eternity, which is timeless. There are no days, no weeks, no hours, no seconds. God exists in eternity. God exists. I wonder, can we feel the awesomeness, the reverence, and the reverential treatment that concern that we give God because of who he is? I wonder, do we honor him in kneeling and dedication and consecration, that even though I'm not perfect, but I got a perfect God. Right. I don't do it right all of the time, but God does it right all the time. Do I honor him like that? Do I honor him that when I know that when I should call his name, in spite of who I am, I should call his name? God made man. The Bible says he formed him in all things. The Bible says he formed him from the dust. And then through a divine process, he began to fill the earth with good things. There's a life principle here that I do not want you to miss. Here's the principle. Whenever God forms a thing, he will fill it. Say with me, whenever God forms a thing, he will fill it. That is the truth, because remember, he formed the earth and then he filled the earth with abundant life. He formed the sea and then he filled it with great whales and fish. He formed the outer firmament and filled it with birds. He formed the day and land and filled it with grass and trees. He always feels something. Those of you who feel like you've passed a biological clock, you're over 30, I'm not married, don't worry about it. He'll feel it. He formed you, so therefore he will give you fulfillment in your life. Look at somebody say, he formed you, and he will give you fulfillment for your life. I know you're going through now, I know you're experiencing all kinds of horrific things happening into your life, but remember this, God takes a collection of a lot of stuff, and out of that, he brings you out. Out of all of the things that they went through for 70 years, God had a time for restoration, and he brought them out. He also allowed them to build houses, raise children, marry, develop a society, and when God got ready, he brought all of them out. Man, I believe that God's going to save my whole family. Say amen. I got a wayward boy, I got a wayward spiritual child. I got somebody who just going their way. It don't make no difference what I say. It doesn't make no difference what I stand for. They not respectful. They argue with me. They treat me like I'm not their parent. And they disrespect me. And I don't know what to do about it. Give them to God. Give them to God. Oh, it's quiet in here. Say amen. It's kind of quiet, but in your quietness, I'm almost ready to finish. Yes. You know, life is so uncertainty. But I know that God has a plan for me.
Well,
that's right. The only thing I do not know is what is in the plan. Look at when somebody says, what is in the plan? Most of us, when we take out insurance policies, life policies, we want to know, what does this encompass? What is in this plan? What are the benefits? What is the downside and the upside? Give me what this plan is. Look at somebody say plan. You know, it's unfortunately that many of us go through life without a plan. If you plan to fail, you will fail. If you have no plan, ain't no telling where your failures are coming from. Because you have no plan. Look at somebody and say, no plan. Some people got plans, but it really does not include God in their plans. In the plan of God, nobody would have thought that during the life of Jesus Christ, that God would have a plan that would have plots in it. That would have crucifixion in it. That would have rejection in it. That it will allow you to encounter mean, clean folks. It's in the plan. Disobedient children in the plan.
well,
Kids who don't want to do nothing with their lives in the plan. People who become satisfied with mediocrity in the plan. God's master plan.
well,
But in reality, if Jesus had not had any enemies, we would know how to deal with ours. All of that was in the plan.
well,
Paul said, for we know that all things, look at somebody say all things.
all things.
How many people got some all things in your life? But thank God for everything He's making it better.
Well,
Thank God for everything that I encountered, all of the disappointments and all of the things that happens in life. God is making me better. God is giving me the kind of attitude and disposition and behavior that I didn't think I would ever accomplish, but because God has a plan in my life, that He's drawing people to me. These are the same people who hurt me. But because I do not react from the hurt, and they see that I have an attitude like Christ, then they come running to Jesus and saying, I really want to be like that sister. Because she could have hated on me. But because she had a different outlook, because she had a different perspective, God has given her something that I wish I had. But I'm just glad about the plan of salvation. Look at somebody say, the plan of salvation. Say it again, the plan of salvation. God had a plan of salvation. He included me. I don't know why he included me. I was rebellious and I was not responsive. I was outside of the divine covenant. I had no part with the divine nature. I had no part in prayer, dedication, and fasting life. But all I knew that I saw somebody that I knew had Christ, and that was my Aunt Cleo. She's at the hospital now, dying, but they took her off the respirator to see whether or not she could get a little more life. But I can remember as I was a gangster and a crook, I saw in my Aunt Cleo a young, beautiful lady. Looked like she was about 29 or 30. Just as I was growing up as a young person, I saw her going to church. I saw her fasting for 10 and 15 days. My mother loved the Lord, but not like Aunt Cleo. Aunt Cleo would get my two aunts together and keep them in prayer for 2 nights and days because there was a glitter and a glare in her life that was so different from anybody else. And when I saw how God was working in her life, and one of the things that really drew me to the church, she was dying. The doctor had gave her up, said she couldn't live. But I don't know, she got healed some way. A week after she had been pronounced she's gonna die, she gets up out of her bed. She comes to the church, and the night after that she came to my house and said, Roger, I know that you need God. And I'm gonna tell you, I was a mean person. I fought every day. If you didn't start a fight, I would. Sometimes I'd be the smallest person in the group, but I was ready to fight. I had a fighting spirit in my mind, in my body, in my soul.